beautiful people. Thank you for clicking in. My name is Mary and Mwangi, and welcome to another session of my nursing school chronicles. Today, I'm going to be telling you about my experience on my first time getting confronted by death in my profession. Not from a relative or anything, but just in my profession, or rather, nursing is one time going to be my profession, and I'm in the process of training in nursing school, and it's just this particular time that I got to get confronted by death for the very first time. I am going to be telling you about this whole experience, and if you're wondering how exactly I got to join nursing school, I'm a foreigner in Germany. I come originally from Kenya, but I am doing my nursing school in Germany. Go ahead and click on this video. It talks about everything you need to know to join nursing school in Germany. Also, if you're a foreigner elsewhere looking for information on how you can move to Germany, go ahead and click on this video. It's going to also give you a lot of information. Also, I will attach the same videos towards the end of my video so that you don't have to skip this video in the name of, I want to watch the other one, I want to watch the other one. No. You stick around, I give you my story, and if you have one, make sure you also tell me in the comment section that you like me and I like you, and we get to watch each other's videos. Okay, so this energy is just too much. It's too much. Okay. So stick around and let's go. So it was in it was in September of last year when I was working on an orthopedic station where people with fractures and all these dislocations, anything to do with bones, osteoporosis, anything related to bones happens. It's a station number 3 where I work. And we had this particular patient. She was a lady. She was quite advanced in age. She was, I think, 72. Yeah, and she was living in a Seniorenheim. I don't know what you call this in English. In a seniors home, or what do you call this place where old people go, or people advanced in age go and live there to be taken care of. I really don't know the word in German. Like in English, bro, like, oh my god. Let's see if I get it. Well, it didn't count. I think it's just a seniors home or senior people, home of seniors. Bro, no. But just where old people are taken care of. Home of the aged. Yes, home of the aged. Right. And she was coming from one of these places, and she came to hospital because she had fallen down and she had broken her arm, and she had osteoporosis. That means her bones were already just giving up on life, and on top of that, she also broke her hip bone, and she also broke her arm. And she was brought to our station, particularly in Germany, or rather, I don't know how other people or other hospitals handle this. Most times, if it's can't be fixed conservatively, which means using a plaster or just anything else, you get operated on. And the surgeons responsible for this also went ahead and decided that she has to get 2 operations, one on the leg, one on the hand. And she went ahead to get operated. A very old lady who had extreme underlying issues. She had heart insufficiency, her kidneys kept failing, and there was also something with her lungs, and it was just really someone who is in pain. I don't like to give my opinion to doctors because they know what they're doing, but anyways, let's just not talk about that. So they went ahead and operated this lady, and she got her humerus repaired using a surgery, and she also got a hüft. Tap means total endoprothesis, and the joint of her hip joint. I don't know what these things are called in English. Like, I used to know because I did my high school biology in English, but since I started to learn these things in German, bro, my words are just woo. Everything I learn just keeps woo. It just keeps leaving my head. But anyways, she got both of her problems fixed, and unfortunately she had to go. It's not really unfortunately, it happens sometimes. If you go from surgery, you have to go on intensive care, sometimes also not. So she had to go on intensive care because clearly she has extreme underlying issues, and she just got operated on. So when she went into surgery, she unfortunately fell into a coma, and she was sick. Like, she was in a coma for some few weeks. So over time she was getting taken care of in the intensive care unit, and things were probably showing a good sign or a bad sign. I really don't know. Wasn't working in that station, but eventually her relatives came ahead and decided, you know what, she's too old for this. We don't think this putting her on intensive care unit is actually helping her. We don't think that it's really necessary. I mean, if she's advancing age and her health conditions are already giving up, we don't think it's right for her to be suffering anymore. So the people responsible for her, in Germany we call them Betreuer or Angehörige, if they decide that it's just more like she couldn't decide for herself, so someone else had to decide for her, and they decided, you know what, no, it doesn't have to keep going like this. So she was brought back to our station, and I'm sorry to say so, but for her to actually just for her life to come to an end in peace with less pain and everything. So this is called palliative care. You're taking care of someone who it's never going to get better. This is actually just accompanying them to the end of their lives. And I find this a very beautiful aspect of nursing. I find it also extremely beautiful because I am still trying to learn how to agree with being confronted by death, and looking at it from a positive perspective, and everything. So she was brought down to our station, and the thing is, we all knew somewhere in the week she was going to depart. She was going to leave us. And it's honestly, even as a student or even as a nurse, you're not excited to know someone's going to die. So throughout the week, everyone has to keep checking in her room. How is she doing? Is she out of breath? Is she having any pain? Can she talk? Is she still responding? It's just a lot of care that has to be given to someone in their palliative state, and especially one like this one who's really at their end stadium, like really at the last stage of life. It's very hard for me to talk about these things because I want to sound as polite as possible. Not even to sound, I want to feel like I am being polite. And it's just some of these things you just have to call them what they are. And then it was on a Thursday is when she lost her life, or rather is when she departed from us. And particularly on this day, I was having an afternoon shift, and she lost her life in this shift. The thing is, I walked into her room, because I'm the student here, they keep telling me, go check on her, go do this, go do this, go do that. So when I went to check, she was taking her last breath. It was just that time when it was just everything was just going down, and it was just something very, very difficult for me to watch. She was pale, she was cold, her skin it just felt like her skin was parting from her or something. And at this point, she was still taking her last breath, and then when I tapped her to check for a response from her, I actually realized, you know what, I think it's done. I really think it's done. And at this point, I was so shocked. So goddamn shocked. I was so much in panic. I was so sad. At this point, just extreme emotions in my head just went up and down. It was just for the fact that it's very weird because we all knew it was going to happen, but at that moment when it happened, I was seeing someone who's lost their lives for the first time. I was also watching someone lose their life, and it just was a difficult 5 minutes, let me call it 3 minutes. In my mind, in my heart, it was just very, very difficult for me to process the fact that we've just lost a personality. Someone who lived 70 years of their life doesn't exist anymore, and it was just, it was just something too hard for me to process. It was hard for me, and for the fact that I saw her laying there with the condition of her body, condition of her state, the state of her condition, and it was just so difficult for me. And at this point, of course, I had to go ahead and say, you know what, she's lost his life. And funny enough, I really broke down. Like, I broke down really bad when I was going to tell my nurse, or the nurse was responsible for me on that day, to tell her, you know what, Frau so and so, just, you know, it's not the same anymore. She's lost her life. And this statement broke me down so bad that the nurse had to comfort me, first of all, before we actually went back into the room. And we went back to, oh my god, my voice is breaking. We went back into her room, and the nurse actually confirmed that she was dead, if I may call it. We of course had to call a doctor to confirm. The doctor came, checked everything that they have to check to know that the person is really dead. And she had actually signed that she doesn't want any resuscitation. If she dies, she's dead. Like, don't try it, do not try it. Or rather, the people who signed for her said, if she dies, she's dead, do not try to resuscitate her or anything. So just, if you are in nursing school, that might be important for you to ask. But yes, she said no, or rather the people who were responsible for her said no, do not resuscitate, or do not reanimate. Okay, do not do that. So the doctor came and confirmed that she was gone. And then it came to the point where we now have to prepare her for the morgue. And in my head, I was just like, oh my god, I just can't believe it. I just, I knew people die because I mean, it's clear, it's just how life ends, But just this moment of watching her lose her life, and also watching someone lie down lifeless in front of my eyes, it was difficult. I don't know, like, the thing is, I feel like every other person would actually just be able to deal with this situation and go ahead. But for me, this is something that really just made me start to look at things from a different perspective. The thing that happened to me after this point, I wasn't able to eat any kind of meat for months. Because the texture of meat felt like the texture of her body when she was lying there, and the color of the meat just looked exactly like what she looked like. And I don't know, it just felt so weird for me to see meat, to eat any kind of meat, to even look at it was just something so difficult for me. So the nurse comes back into the ward, and now we have to really prepare her for the morgue. So we have to take off all the vigors and everything that's attached to her, and pull off all the what do you call this, all the drips. Sorry, I only know these things in German. You have to pull out all the drips, and you have to clean her body. And she was just lying there so peacefully, but the things going into my mind, the nurse responsible for me just told me, you know what, you really have to be strong. You have to be very strong, because this is something that's going to confront you for the rest of your life in your profession. And this thing really slapped me bad. It slapped me bad that when I went home that day, I couldn't sleep. I just kept reoccurring in my mind how she lost her life, how she took her last breath, how she lay there lifeless, how much her personality didn't exist anymore. And it was just a very difficult moment for me. So anyways, once we finished all this, we prepared her. Eventually the police came and checked if there was any criminal whatever, because she had fallen down, so that means she could have been pushed or anything. So it was actually a criminal case. So they came to confirm. And when I don't know what they found, I mean, we work in the hospital, not by the police or not by the people responsible for investigation. And then when they took her away, like, the mood in the whole ward station, it was just so bad. Like, it was just, it's really sad when people lose their lives, but there are also people who are really happy when such people lose their lives, because they have fought to the point where it couldn't work anymore, but they at least tried to fight. And if it didn't work out, it just didn't work out, and they're now in a better place. And they have no more pain. And even if their souls still live within us, it's just better for them that way. And I started to look at life differently, and I have been confronted by death multiple other times after this particular time. And I can tell you guys for a fact that you learn how to deal with it, especially if you're a nursing school student or student of nursing school, or you're a medical doctor training, or you're just anything learning, or you're just not used to being confronted by death. I am just out here to tell you, will eventually work out, but you have also to put a little bit of effort in it. If it's really bad, go ahead and go for therapy. Or if you really know it's never going to work out for you, just get out as soon as you can, because there's no point of investing 5 years or 6 years into something and then it doesn't work out, and you end up getting confronted by this type of situations. If you know for sure you're never going to learn, just don't try. So before this video gets depressing, thank you so much for watching. It feels somehow like a relief for me to actually openly talk about these situations, because they really matter to me, and maybe for any other person watching me interested in going through nursing school. And if this really got you to a point where you feel like you can leave me a comment, go ahead and leave a comment for me. Let me know if you've been confronted by this type of situations. Let me also know how you dealt with